Welcome to the Jamodi podcast. We are all surrounded by amazing coaches and leaders. So let's get an inside look at not just what they do, but how they do what they do. After all, becoming the best versions of ourselves is Jamodi, just a matter of doing it. Coaches, we are all searching for ways to better evaluate players in order to give meaningful feedback. Over 15 years ago, I put together a test called the Jamodi Skill Rating. The JSR takes players through a series of tests involving basketball skill or athleticism, giving them one rating at the end. Their JSR rating will give you clarity on what needs to be discussed with players and parents on areas they need to focus on improving. I test our players at least 4 times each year. They're able to compete against each other, past players' scores, and most importantly, their past performances. If you'd like to start testing your athletes, email me at jamodipodcast@gmail.com for more information. Couple things, a couple golden nuggets that I think you brought up, and Doug Novak said it's not that you have to make it, but that you have to take it.
Absolutely.
That's a big change because, yes, like we want to make shots so that we score more and we give ourselves a chance to win, but we don't need to put any more pressure on these players than they already put on themselves to be excellent or to make shots. When they just know that coach, the expectation is that coach wants me to take it. I think players will do that. And then my goal every year is to try to, with our parent meeting, is to almost be a prophet in some way of letting them know what to expect. Instead of me coming up and saying, hey, we're going to play fast and it's going to look great at the beginning, from beginning to end. I tell them 2 things. Our shooting percentage is going to be really low in November and December. And our turnovers are going to be really high in November, December, because we're just figuring out in a real game scenario, try to figure that out in practice, but it's the best we can do to what the real thing is. But it's going to flip at some point. And it was Spoelstra years ago when LeBron was playing and they wanted to start playing fast. He was talking like this and he was talking really fast. And he said, but at some point I'm going to be able to stay fast, but in my head, it's slow. And I thought, what a cool way to show that. Like your fingers moving fast, but in my head, it's slowing down. And I think we got to allow our players, like you said, the ability to play with courage, to make those turnovers, to take those chances, not base their game on hope, but things that we practice and we say that you're allowed to do that. We want you to take that. I think that frees them up.
Yeah, and we're really consistent with our voice in practice too. I mean, you'll learn in a hurry. I mean, if you're playing for us, I mean, we're going to be matter of fact. We're going to
clarity.
If we turn it over, and I've said this for years, even before it got to be like real popular. I also grew up in a time we tried to play a little bit like Westhead's Marymount system and a little bit of that. So this isn't new to us playing to space. You know, pace and space or race and space, whatever it might be called. But I've always, even as a young coach, I've always told guys, don't pass it ahead unless we gain advantage. Like, why throw it to someone just going down the sideline 15 steps ahead of you for them to catch it and have to? I mean, keep attacking and don't throw it ahead. And you said you're searching out 7s or 9s in transition. My verbiage has always been just only pass it ahead to gain an advantage. And we do a drill called Laker drill. It's an awesome drill. I think it's part Coach Showalter when I was at Mid Prairie years ago, part when we went to Iowa Lakes. I was assistant coach at Iowa Lakes, a junior college. We were the Lakers. So I think I called it Laker drill. But there you are in a gym with 25 players, which I find myself in every day, at least. High school open gyms on a summer morning when the 9th graders and the 8th graders going to be 9th graders are all there too. Well, you can't have them all sitting and watching.
That's right.
And I don't, most gyms, anymore, there's pretty nice high schools, but most places, maybe 2 courts. I'm like anti going crossways. I just,
interesting.
I hate it because there's no lines. There's nothing to show. There's nothing that's familiar for spacing.
Yep.
The landmarks are different than what you're going to play on. So now we do it some, and we did it in high school some, but I found this drill we call Laker drill. It's 4-on-4 continuous. It's so simple, but allows that 8th grader that's going to be a 9th grader, like he can play with those. But if we just had to go scrimmage at half court, that little kid that you know is going to be a hell of a player. I mean,
Yeah.
But he just physically can't. He's just not going to be able to do it. But one thing he can do in a 4-on-4 continuous drill, if he can run faster than those other guys and learn to
Yeah.
catch and finish, or hit wide open shots, and that's all we encourage. Like we'll give the scoring, we'll give ones and twos. Twos are paint touch, spray out threes.
I like
That's
that.
only threes that we give two for. Everything else is one. We give back cuts that lead to just a direct layup. That's worth two as well. Or we might change the rules to it a little bit, but that's kind of how we play. So 4-on-4 continuous, but you can have 25 kids in a gym, teams of 12.
Score it. Next group comes on.
So your group, so if your group, Matt, is like we're purple and white. So if you're purple, I'm white, and we get the drill started, 4 of my white shirts come out. You're bringing it the first time with 4 purple.
Yep.
There's lines at each end. White stays at that end.
Okay.
Purple stays at the other. There's a line, specific lines in corners and one under the basket. So there's 3 lines. They can't be commingling. They got to be in order because we got to know who's first in the line. That's always the deal. So you're bringing it at us. Your rule is you and your 3 partners always got to go back home. You always got to go defend. So if you're on offense, you 4 always have to go back on D. It's just that's the rule. Defensively, you're coming at me. Say you take a shot, you make it or miss it. I'm the one guy on defense that either gets it out of the net or gets the rebound or gets a loose ball. I stay.
Oh.
I go that way. The first 3 guys in each line come with me. The other guys go to the end of the lines. Now we're going towards you. I shoot it. Now you've been in it. You get the rebound. You could be in it. If you keep getting rebounds, you're never out of the drill.
I love that part. That's a good wrinkle.
And then I have to go back. We played a 7, and I used to do it in the summer, and the kids loved it, that sometimes we play a best of 15 series. They can play. Our guys, if we want to get them like loose early in the practice, we do like what we call 80-point shooting. That's just one of those full court transition shooting drills, just get everybody going up and down. We'll play Laker drill, and we'll have a couple guys make the teams, or I'll make the teams, and all of a sudden Black goes 2-0. And if I had to pull players and coaches, they thought White was better, but Black shared the ball. They ran harder and they finished. And they talk more, whatever the keys to success just jump out at you. But now the other team's ticked off because, you said it was best of 5. It's 2-0, All right, we're not going to do it again until tomorrow. But I never have to tell them what their teams were. I mean, if they're in the middle of it, they remember that then we make new teams after whatever series is over. But it's like the world championship sometimes. I mean, it's just like they love it. So I think it's a great deal for high schools. Like when you have that big open gym and you have a sophomore that maybe you think that he could give you a lift. Well, that's a great way to get him into drill. And all of a sudden those seniors are like, you know what? He just keeps running. He can play, he rebounds out of his area. If it's a big kid, he cleans things up. He doesn't take bad shots. He runs to the rim. He sets good screens. He releases on the rolls. He can catch, finish. But I think that's easier than just stopping it, being stagnant in half court and thinking a young kid's going to learn how to play. I think physicality just takes over. But they learn to trust that kid because, boy, he runs. If I can get to paint, draw defenders, if I can just get to 2 and spray it to that kid in the corner, he just keeps making them. Well, now all of a sudden, that young guy might find a niche that you can somehow use them during the regular season. So 4-on-4 Laker drill, it's a big deal that we do all the time, and it's competitive.
And I want to make sure I got it right. So there's always going to be a changing of 3 players every possession. So it's not
unless it's a steal above the free throw line extended, then all 8 stay. So if you turn it over coming at me, but it's above the free throw line extended, we don't sub. We
Because
just
there'd
turn
only
and
be
go.
one ahead with three coming behind at that point. Is that what you're
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Yeah.
So everybody stays, but every other situation, whether made or missed, whoever of the four defenders, whoever grabs the ball, either out of the net or the rebound or a loose
Or a
ball,
steal that's below that line.
heel that's below, you're in, and three are coming new or coming with you.
See,
But offensively, you got to get back.
yeah.
Offense always has to go back home to where when they're done with that, when they're done with that drill, they get to their lines.
And we've done a version of that even at PGC of a continuous 4-on-4, but it's more like 6 to 8 different teams, and one team can stay on and play as long as they continue to score and get stops. I love the idea, especially at a high school where the talent is so different. Like between if you get 6 teams, there's going to be one or two teams that they just don't have the talent to actually stay on the floor.
Well,
Here with
and
two teams, you
they may
spread them
not have the
out.
talent too, or Matt. Here's what happens too: they lose the competitive juice if they're
Yeah.
team five in points at that moment.
Yep.
If it's two teams, it's us against them, and it's a connection. Everybody in the gym.
Coach,
I
I'm going
mean,
to borrow that game. That's really good.
and we always have managers running the clock, we'll put a smaller shot clock, like maybe a 15-second shot clock on it, that they got to get up and down and do it. We score it. I don't know why I decided to play to 7 years ago, and that's the way we do it.
Well, I like
Um,
this. I like the 7 with the scoring because you're playing ones and twos. To me, we want to always emphasize. You also had another nugget of choosing different actions from day to day that are worth more. Scoring off an offensive rebound like that right there.
could be two.
Yeah, it gives your rebounding on both ends more emphasis. The kick threes, or for us, it would be just a three in general. Like we hunt for that the same way that we hunt for nines. And so to give it more of that helps you get to 7 because you can utilize that shot and get there quicker than a team that is just going to hunt for nines. They have to do that 7 times to win. I love
Yeah,
that. I love that.
and
Yeah.
twos and ones. Obviously, I'm not a math genius, but that's different than twos and threes.
Yep.
I mean, it's a 50%
Yeah.
bump or 100% bump. I'm not a math guy. However you want to classify it, it's worth twice as much, and so that's good. And I tell you what, our guys and everybody can be successful, even the freshman that's going to have to put 15 on and just get stronger. And that's going to become evident when we start going more like half court and doing our defense and icing something on the side. And he's just not good enough to handle that or whatever. But in this, if you play and you play fast, you can belong in this game. We might do an action like, say we just want like one version of pistol. Like maybe all we're going to do is we're going to say it has to start with a point to wing, ghost, trailer, side ball screen, shake action behind. It has to have that to start with. Or whatever actions we're building. We might say it's got to be a drag screen. If you can't throw it ahead for a layup, it's got to be a drag screen to start it. So you can put it any way you want to put it, and you can add or take away, and you can change the point system.
Are they allowed to get in their lines however they want?
Yeah,
Because it's going to change. I mean, they're never going to really have
it's all
those 4
blended.
guys.
No, no,
Yeah.
no. It all gets blended up.
Coach,
Yeah, one guy we've got some, and I've always had, like, I should have kept like my all-time all-pro Laker drill guys, and it isn't necessarily your best players. You'll be surprised
they'll
who.
start to cancel each other out. It's at what point do the others start to step up and knock down shots? But when we're trying to play
Yeah.
like you and I are trying to play, you need all of them.
Oh,
You
you
need
need
all of
all of
them
them.
to be aggressive and confident.
And you make the teams, like I might be different people are going to be like the group captains or whatever. Um, And I think something that coaches got to remember too, uh, leadership has very little to do with playing time. I mean, very little to do with lead. That doesn't mean some of my best leaders didn't play a lot. That also doesn't mean some of the greatest leaders I've ever had played very much. But leaders are leaders, and so this allows maybe somebody that's just he's your practice guy, that he's just the culture. He gets it at such a high level. Well, if they start drafting teams, I got my money on that guy because he's aware. Sometimes your best players aren't aware of everybody else. They're aware of themselves. And sometimes your best guys are the ones that they just lead. They get it. They get the scout. They're probably going to be coaches. And they start picking teams like they might know the one guy misses a shot. He doesn't get back as quick. They're not taking that guy. It's funny how people pick things too.
Yeah. And I think the more that we can allow our players to organize themselves, we can sit back and learn a lot about the dynamics that are within our team. I think we rob ourselves of learning about the relationships and how our players view each other because we set them up and we spoon feed them in every way.
Oh, no question. And it goes back to with 20, like last year we had more like 28 or 29 guys. This year we were I think we're going to be like 26. And so it's a little easier to deal with. But I go back to like when I was a young coach at Mid Prairie High School, we had really good teams with Coach. And he always said, and he still does it with his, if you go to USA when he was 62-0, if you watched him work out in Dubai the day before a world championship game, after that shoot around, they circle up, they held hands, they tell the guy beside him, it's always a circle. And I've used it, but here at Cornell, I haven't used it very much. And so just starting to think about sometimes you forget things that have been good to you in the past.
Yeah.
And you just move away from things. So I consciously said, Coach, that was such a good thing. And we did it at Mid Prairie all the time. He's done it at every stop. He does it with those guys. And all it is making you look people in the eye and talk. And it's like he'll start off with like, tell someone to your right what they did good today. Okay, Matt, I thought you did a good job spacing the floor and making people pay. You were making some shots, or you did a good job getting. You'd say something to the next guy. Some days it's like, tell me something that maybe none of us know about you. I play the guitar. It was funny. He did this with 5 coaches Saturday in Cleveland. It was so funny. It was like, and I'd already started even before this, like, I need to do that again. So the wheels were already turning. And these guys, the first guy goes, something you might not know about me, I play the piano. The next guy, big looking long guys that are probably good hoopers. And the next guy goes, I sing. And the next guy says, I play the guitar. And the last guy goes, I don't play anything. It was funny, like, he got to him and he didn't play, but it makes you get out of your comfort zone to a certain degree.
Yeah.
So what I told Coach then later is like, I get it. And I get so ticked off. I go back and look at old practices and we circle up at the end and God, I got 8 over there. And it is the most morphed out, bad looking circle. There's, guys are stacked behind each other. I think there's some merit to just looking good, being there, that we can have good communication. If we're trying to talk good communication, a sloppy circle up at the end of practice is not the way to do it.
Yeah.
And so I got to be better at that. So I told Coach O that I'm going to do it, and my guys don't even know it yet, but we're going to do 5 groups, and I'm going to have a circle captain. And some of them I know can handle it. Some of them are good players that are now getting older that need to be better leaders. It's going to get them out of their comfort zone. So they'll kind of know my topic, but at the end of practice, you'll get with your circle group, maybe sometimes in the middle. And we've done this in the past where you have your circles and maybe 4 of my assistants, one of them has each circle. And then they just like mid practice, like, okay, what's our focus today? Where do you think we're at? And makes the guys talk a little bit. But we'll do these 5 circle groups. There'll be 2 leaders in each group. There'll be 6 to 7 in a group, and then we'll bring everybody together. But it's not going to look like that. I'm tired of that. We're going to be better at that.
Yeah.
So sometimes you just gotta like, what can we be better at that some people might think is stupid, but it's out of your comfort zone. It's communicating. And isn't that what we're trying to get to anyway?
Yes, sir.
So if we can do something every day to make people more empowered to speak up and practice, so it's not the same 5, I just think that's good. So it's funny how you lose track of your ways a little bit, only to come back to it. And it's going to make us better. I can guarantee that.
Thank you for checking out today's episode. Please take a moment to subscribe to this podcast, share it with your fellow coaches, and find us on social media for what's coming up next on the Jamodi podcast. It's just a matter of doing it.